next to you? Ken.
Ken. The one and only Chad himself.
Stop saying that.
I know. Okay.
Do I wish things would have turned out different? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think things could turn out in my favor? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Like, guys, I don't know what the future holds. I have no idea. You never say never to things because you never know anything.
Someone please tell the driver to stop because I want to get off this train at the next stop. I cannot believe the stuff that has come out in the past couple weeks about Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Oh.
You'd remarry me?
Can we not do this on camera?
I think her latest season is now coming to a close. Correct me if I'm wrong. I get most of my clips from TikTok, if not all of them. But the breakup has commenced and we see Gypsy packing all of her stuff. We see the baby onesie. Speculation's gone wild on, is it Ryan's baby? Is it Ken's baby? I mean, I personally believe that it is Ken's baby, but I do know that there are a lot of rumors to say otherwise.
I bought that onesie when Ryan and I had went to Walmart. And I just thought it was cute. Like, I'm like, oh, this is so cute. When we have future kids or whatever, when I want to get it for my future kid.
We have lives that have been going on where Gypsy is talking about baby names and then she's saying that being a parolee is really quite difficult and people are trying to sabotage that. And now they're adding a baby into the mix. Not to mention Ryan is adding commentary to every single episode that's come out, which he is well entitled to do so. I mean, he's literally reacting to himself on the TV. I knew this was going to be happening. But the thing is that he randomly lets out, oh, well, you never know what may happen. We may end up together one day. You can't predict the weather or whatever's going on. And I honestly want to bash my head on a table. These three have lost their minds.
Hey, but guys, like, I want y'all to be fans of me and not because y'all think I'm anti-Gypsy, because I'm not anti-Gypsy.
But before we get on to all of what I just said, we're going to be talking about the fact that allegedly, because this is fairly alleged, I haven't seen any proof so far, Gypsy is threatening to sue or has sued someone called Kami. I think that's how you say his name. I just remember he had a YouTube channel called Touch the Light, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was fairly controversial anyway. But he then pops up on my TikTok. Now, after he posts this, he then receives a very strongly worded DM from Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself. He then proceeds to reply to it, and then she then acts as if she never sent the message to begin with, and now allegedly she's threatening to sue.
Like what? I was gonna feel bad about this, but who is working for Gypsy Rose's PR team? Just have your baby and calm down, it's not that deep. There's been a huge Gypsy Rose update. I can't post the full thing on here, so make sure you're following me on my Instagram. I put it right here. Follow me and stay active, you're not going to want to miss this.
Gypsy, just because you unsent your message doesn't mean you never sent it. I know you've only been on social media for like a month, but that's just not how it works. And trying to sue me because I don't care about your pregnancy is crazy. I'm still in shock with the email she sent me, so if you guys want me to make a video about that, make sure you're following me.
Now, is this just a skit or is this actually happening? I don't know, because we haven't heard from him since, I think, those videos. He hasn't really posted anything about it since. But those videos did pick up a fair bit of traction, and let's just say that is completely genuine. What a random thing to throw your toys out the pram at, her being mad that basically he doesn't care that she's pregnant, which, you know, people are pregnant every single day. You know what I mean? People announce their pregnancy every single second of every single day. There's always someone out there who's announcing a pregnancy. You know, you don't have to be excited for someone, even though they are, in her words.
Especially since my life is so high profile.
I mean, the only other person that I know she has tried to sue, and I think is then trying to sue again because they had to throw it out of court because apparently it was filed in the wrong court, I don't know, is Fancy from the Good Wives Network, and that was a whole hullabaloo. I don't know the ins and outs of it, I'm going to be completely honest, but that's the only other person I think she has been trying to sue, correct me if I'm wrong. So if this is true, this is just absolutely wild. Now, I have seen clips of, I think this was the latest episode, it might not have been, but I haven't commented on it, so I just want to comment on it right now, because Christy, whoever, whatever your name is, Gypsy's stepmom is back to meddling. We know she's been meddling. The amount of people who are saying, oh no, she has every right to meddle. She can meddle all she wants. No, I really do think that she did stick her all in that one. And I'm not saying that Ryan and Gypsy were a match made in heaven, because truth be told, I don't think they were or are, no matter what Ryan says. But that still doesn't give a right for Kirsty, whoever, whatever, to come on in and start meddling like that.
Getting from all of this, I mean, you went from one prison to another prison, and now you're in another one, and...
I wouldn't go that far, Mom.
Well, I mean, she's stuck in that house.
And it's just so painfully obvious that by the end of, their relationship breakdown, she was just so over him. You could tell, it was so obviously clear, so obvious to everyone that Gypsy was just so over Ryan's antics. And, did he display signs of being very controlling? 110%, like him messaging Gypsy saying, don't go and talk to your dad or whatever, like come see me instead. That's not on at all. However, just to play devil's advocate, I would feel very uncomfortable if, my wife or my husband, I don't know, was coming up to me when I was asleep and saying that they miss their ex-fiance. To be honest, like I've said a million times, no one in this triangle is coming out with redeeming qualities. Just in my own opinion, they're all toxic, they're all messy as hell. Which brings me on to my next point of the fact that Gypsy and Ken did a live the other day or last night, whoever, whatever. Or Gypsy was saying that it's really hard being a parolee and that, people are always trying to contact the board and, she's being targeted, etc., etc. So it does make me ask. It does make me beg to question. See, some things are unplanned, unexpected. However, if you're saying that people are trying to target you, and that people are trying to take you down and all of that, adding a baby to this mix, especially when you're still doing a reality TV show, it just doesn't seem very safe.
Scope, not only what trauma survivors have to go through, but also parolees. Parolees don't have it easy, especially since my life is so high profile. It is 10, 20 times harder to be a parolee. So talking about how it's hard to get jobs, when haters online want to falsely report me for when I'm doing nothing wrong, but just because they simply don't like me, I get reported to my PO. Of course, my PO knows, because if I get a false report put on me, he talks to me, and he has to check in with me and says, we got a report today. So there were times in the past that I'm like, yeah, I did this, or no, it's completely false. And we talk about it. He sends a report back to Missouri, and then that's how my parole works. It's a struggle. And like it showed on the show, my parole officer, he gets a lot of calls, and I'm still free because all of the reports have been either false or I have been given a warning about, pretty much.
Am I alone in thinking this? It just doesn't seem like the safest idea. However, I have seen some people on TikTok who are very angry about the fact that she's saying that, it's really hard being a parolee because people who have been in the system, people who have been in the prison system and have got out or know people, know what a struggle it actually is, especially if you've committed a crime like Gypsy has, to then come out and integrate, merge with society again. To be able to find jobs, to be able to find houses, to be able to find a partner, it's incredibly difficult. Some people do feel that, she has had a lot of things handed to her and she's then complaining about it.
This is what I don't understand about you, Gypsy, is how you can sit there and say being on parole is hard. How dare you have the audacity to say something like that? You've literally had everything handed to you since you were little up until now. You haven't had to work a day in your life. You haven't had to find a home plan leaving prison. Everything has been handed to you. You literally say, you get everything you want. I get everything I want. Girl, you just sound so stupid. It pisses me off that somebody like you can leave prison and get everything on a silver platter when everybody else, every other parolee has to work, has to have a home plan, can't drink, do drugs, anything else, and you get to literally do anything and everything without any consequences. Like, it literally makes no sense to me that you had the audacity to say how hard it is to be on parole. That's what I don't understand, because you're living a cushy life right now compared to Tasha, that's still in prison, that slayed and murdered someone just like you, but you're out sleeping in a comfy bed.
For me personally, I do feel like it's a very complex situation given the fact that she was brought up the way that she was in very difficult circumstances. So she's not like a lot of inmates, or, you know, her story was very different, hence the reason why, you know, it gained so much attraction, and she is being offered TV shows and she is being treated like a celebrity. And I don't think that is right. I'm just trying to explain that that is the reasoning why she has been given this many opportunities despite committing a heinous crime. Now, just to add to this little conundrum, Gypsy does actually bring up the fact that the reasoning why there was a Yoda onesie when she was cleaning out the closet at Ryan's, the reasoning why that was happening was because when her and Ryan were together, they saw the baby Yoda onesie. Or she thought, oh, well, when I have a baby someday. But then she was very quick to be like, you know, with Ryan, or no, when I just become a mum one day, or something to that effect.
I was not pregnant at that time, but I like the little onesie because I'm like, what happens if that's so cute. What happens if when I finally do get pregnant and we have a kid, they don't have this for sale anymore? So I bought it. And I even talked about that in an interview that Ryan and I had did, I think back in February, it may have been February, an interview where him and I were on the couch talking, I think about the prison confessions maybe, and he actually mentioned, he's like, yeah, she's even buying baby clothes and stuff like that. So I mean, we talk about that, but I think people were kind of shocked because it's like, I am pregnant now, and they're like, well, was she pregnant before? But no.
Now, was it ever really about having a baby with Ryan, or was it just about being a mum in general? Because I feel like that has always been her plan. I know a lot of people will say, oh, she's trying to trap men into having a baby and all of that, and without literally being in their relationship. I don't feel like I can say whether I agree with that or whether I don't. He was kind of planning, well, if it's not going to be with you, it's going to be with someone else. Was that someone else with Ken? Very, very possibly. And for the dessert portion of today's video, we're going to be talking about Ryan Anderson, who has been making a lot of videos in relation to what we have been watching throughout the Lifetime reality TV show. And a lot of people have been pointing out, you know, he comes across as quite controlling, the way that he's talking to her. There's no, you know, he's giving me the ick. There's no wonder why Gypsy didn't want to be with him. I do think that he did display very controlling signs. However, she also was basically trying to get back with her ex, and that would make anyone feel very on edge and want to try and control the situation or run away. I don't know. I can understand it from both sides. But one of the things that he did point out was the fact that, you know, the show was trying to make him out to be a villain. I do think that the camera can only twist your narrative so much. There has to kind of be some input from you, but that doesn't mean to say that, you know, I don't think that things weren't put in his favor.
So I hope y'all have enjoyed the show. You know, they did make me to be the villain. You know, it is what it is. They did make it out to be that way. Was I perfect in the show? No, I wasn't. But, you know, I had moments, but we had good times too. And I was bummed about that.
What I will say, though, is that he is very right on one thing, and that's the fact that Gypsy's stepmom is a very big meddler, and she had a lot to play with the fact that they're not together, right? That's what I think. She had a lot to play in the fact that they're going to have a divorce, okay? Their upcoming divorce. It's going to be pretty upcoming, and I will say that, you know, she did have a lot to do with that.
Do I wish things would have turned out different? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think things could turn out in my favor? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Like, guys, I don't know what the future holds. I have no idea. You know, you never say never to things because you never know anything. And, like, there's things I want to say and things on my mind, but I'm just not going to say them tonight.
But then he just puts his foot in it by saying, oh, well, you know, you never know what may happen in the future when asked, do you want to get back with Gypsy, or are you ever going to get to... And I'm just like, she's having a baby. unless this baby is like miraculously yours, then stay out of this. Like, literally stay out of this. They're going to be a family. They're going to be a family of 3. We do not need any of this input, and I can just tell that Ryan is going to start capitalizing off of this. Like, I'm not singling him out as being the problem, because I think they're all the problem, but I can just tell he's going to be capitalizing off of this, and I just don't think that's very healthy. You all need to collectively stop it, and I hope to God that they keep this new baby out of this, because so far I don't see any signs of this train slowing down. But that is pretty much all I wanted to say on today's video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.